Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Hadeen, owner of Illustrious Hardwoods in Mesa, Arizona. Joining me this week is Matt Wentland with John's Manville. If you've been out to a show and you've had the pleasure of meeting Matt, you know who he is, you know how much fun he is, and what he's bringing to the table for them over there. And what we're going to be discussing today is loving what you do. I am hanging out in the Facebook groups. You know, you guys and gals know that, right? This is where a lot of us met, where we communicate, where we're talking about what's going on in our businesses, whether it's from the business side, the technical side, whatever. But I see a lot of people get super grumpy. And, you know, you see young people come in asking about what it's like or asking questions about, you know, how to build their business. And there are some really salty contractors out there like, get out while you can. It sucks. It's going to destroy your body. And just a lot of negativity. And it doesn't seem like they love what they do. It seems, in fact, that they actually despise their career path and are telling people that they shouldn't do it. And it blows my mind. Why are you going to put 40 or 50 years into something that you absolutely hate? You at any time could have gone and found something else that you enjoy and put time and effort into learning that. Like, you are not trapped. No one is forcing you to go to your job every day. And so I don't know, it just blows my mind, and it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And I think that's one of the reasons why we have trouble recruiting talent, is there's a lot of really salty people out there that aren't showing the best attributes of the trades to young people and showing them how much fun they can be, how rewarding they can be, how much success you can have in them. And it needs to change. And so Matt loves what he does, and he's done a couple of things. He's had to reinvent himself a couple of times, like myself. It's super cool of being able to go and move from one thing to another and find a bunch of different things you enjoy, and then finding ways to combine all the skill sets into, you know, some crazy super mold of a career path. But we'll have him introduce himself here in just a minute, give you a little bit more on his background. I want to let you know that Floor Academy Podcast is here every week to help you talk about the business side of your business, whether it's the money side, figuring out how to market it better, reach more people, recruit employees. Sometimes it's just dealing with yourself personally, because if you're not running right, if you're not good, then the business isn't going to be good. We got to get us healthy as well. So it's this kind of all-encompassing approach to business, and there's a different conversation every week for you to hop in, grab little golden nuggets out of, apply them to your life, and slowly start working towards having a business or even just owning a job that you want to do. I don't want anyone to own a job. I'd love for everyone to own a business, but look, I get it. Sometimes owning that job is like the best thing in the world, especially when you have control of it. And that's a huge factor when you're not a slave paycheck to paycheck, and you can say, you know what, I would love to do this job for you, Mrs. Smith, but you know, in the back of your head, you don't need it. That's very, very freeing. So what else do we got going on? You can go over to the website, flooracademypod.com. Check out, you can get links to the podcast depending on where you're watching. Over there, you can find a bunch of files that we have that are super helpful. And you can check out our different mastermind group options and see if those aren't a great fit for you to get some accountability and grow your business by being in groups of other committed people that are actively looking to set goals, grow their business, have accountability from the other group members, and be able to share back and forth and spitball ideas off of people. Happy to discuss any of those. Reach out to me at any time. And as always, thank you to the sponsors, John's Manville, International Surfaces Event, and IQ. Make sure you go into the show notes, go click on their links, visit their stuff. They are looking at that kind of, you gotta click on the links and help me out, folks. That's what I'm asking you. Like, just go click on the links and show them a little love, and then it shows them that you're getting there through me, and they like that stuff. You want to leave a 5-star review, that would be absolutely amazing. That does a lot for the show on the different platforms to make it go further if you're getting anything out of these episodes. And yeah, that's enough out of me. So we'll let Matt talk, and you can hear from somebody else for a minute here. So Matt, who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it?
Well, Matt Wentland. I'm out here in Denver, Colorado. I don't really know what I do. I don't know why I do it, but it's great to be sitting here with you. Glad my friends at John's Manville said, "Hey, let's chat with Kyle." I'm an accidental contractor. Like, I didn't grow up with it. I didn't have family that did it. It wasn't kind of a thing. I started out as an elementary education major. Couldn't find a job other than just subbing, and so I joined corporate America. And then very quickly I realized corporate America was just not for me. And it was inside and outside sales. I was a technical recruiter, all sorts of things. So I literally quit a well-paying job and I went and sold vacuums. All right, let's go make some money walking door to door. And I was making piles of cash, banging on doors, but being honest about it. Like, that sounds cliche, whatever it is. I actually quit that job because I got tired of talking people into vacuums.
Did the vacuum company start with a K?
It did not, but okay. I took a few of those out of homes.
Okay.
So I know what you're talking about. But great honesty, things like that. A lot of fun. Just time for a change. I've kind of made my career moving around in very unconventional ways. But always with some contracting on the side. So I started a small painting business with a buddy of mine in college. We worked for a large company, realized that we could do it probably better and a little cheaper. And where it hit me is one day we were painting a house in Minnesota, and my boss literally said, all we have to do is power wash the north side because it's not getting that much sun, and not paint it, and it'll be fine. I'm like, they paid for a paint job. Mm-hmm. And so right then and there, I knew, like, okay, this isn't for me. I can do this better. We're going to figure this out. So started a painting company, ran to college. It was great. Moved to Colorado, continued that painting company, started corporate America, realized that wasn't for me, the vacuum thing. And then the job of a lifetime came up. And you know this, a lot of people know this. As I'm at these shows, people come up and they ask me the question. So I portrayed Captain Morgan for a living for 20 years. All their bunch of their TV, all their live events, things like that. So I was on the road. But when I wasn't on the road, I was at home building a business. I was paint jobs. I was, hey, can you do this? And the paint job turned into the trim job. The trim job turned into the flooring job. The flooring job turned into, I can build a fence, I think. The fence job turned into a deck job. And then, so it was just side money, and it was great. And it was kind of how I ran a very small business, and I loved it because it wasn't every day. So you talk about some of these contractors that are just super salty.
Shit. Oh, now I done it, folks. I broke it. I'm sorry. Oh, geez. I don't know if I'm going to save this one. Are you kidding me right now?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that was me. I'm trying. I got technical difficulties over here. I apologize,
No
Matt.
worries. All good.
We are. Maybe it's going to start working. I'm sorry, folks. We're gonna work through this. So it was the painting company, and I'm just going to have to shut these down. It's just not cooperating tonight.
Technology.
Well, yeah.
Our tools don't always work.
So please continue. You were the guy was a cheat and wasn't going to power wash the side, and you were like, I can do this, and you always had like a something kind of on the side, and you're like building it up and doing what you need to do.
Yep. So when I was traveling for a living, I would come home and I could do side projects. So the paint job turned into the deck job or the flooring job or whatever that is. And then it turned into the, oh, well, I can probably maybe remodel something too. And where it really truly started with knowing that I'm good with my hands, I very creative and I love solving problems, which construction then is wonderful for me. Is there's a Super Bowl about 20 years ago. I'm living with my roommate and we wanted a bigger TV. And it was an older home, so back in the day they wouldn't put flat screens on walls because there were tube TVs, and they would specifically build boxes in drywall with corner on and everything else, and they would build boxes to fit the exact TV. We wanted a bigger TV. We went and bought a bigger TV, and I literally then just cut open a bigger hole for the TV, re-drywalled it, put my corner bead on it, textured it, painted it, and it was done by the time the Super Bowl was on that afternoon, and we watched on a bigger TV. And I'm like, I can do that. Okay. And that's kind of how it got started.
Okay.
So then fast forward to 2020, bouncing around. I've done a lot of emceeing, a lot of hosting, traveled with AVP during the time, but here comes COVID. There's no more events. I became a full-time contractor. And I can admit, I can see why some contractors get salty because it is hard. It is hard on your body if you're not doing it right. And you said earlier at the beginning, at the introduction, if you're not taking care of yourself, whether that's financially, whether that's mentally, whether that's physically, it's going to be harder every day. If I go out and I'm almost 50, I stretch in the morning. I take 5 minutes to drink my coffee, and I just kind of stand around walking around the house before I race out the door at 6:30 to get to a job because I need that just couple minutes. But I also try to beat traffic, so I'm not just sitting in it angry, punching the steering wheel, trying to get to the job or to the local shop where I'm getting my materials. I get there at the bell when they're open, so I beat everybody else there. You know what I also don't do? I don't buy things, and this is just me personally, small business. I don't buy things I can't afford. That way I don't have to take that job.
Yeah.
So if you've got massive truck payments and trailer payments and your tools, whatever else it is, and I know you need some of these things to do your job, do you need the nicest truck? Probably not. Do you need one? Yeah. But I don't go buy the nicest truck, and now I have $1,000 payment that every month I've got to clear before I even make $1 in my business. So that's just why I love what I do, and I get to keep doing it, and I break it up with random jobs, building custom bars for people or traveling for microphone work, whatever it is. So yeah, I think life is good.
Right on. I love it, man. Like you were a fun brand ambassador that I think a lot of the audience recognizes and knows, and that treated you very well, but you always had something on the backup to do in between and make happen. And there's a lot of firemen in the trades that, because they're like 3 days on, 3 days off, or 3 days on, 4 days off, whatever that schedule kind of does, and so they can come and go and work on projects or fit them in between different shifts. And I think that's sometimes where contracting gets a bad rap, because people are like, oh, you don't take it seriously, but that's all person dependent. And the bar isn't being set high enough by the people in the trades that are out training people. And yeah, some people are self-taught, but again, it's how can we go and better have conversations instead of going to people and be like, man, you suck. That's some hack work, like da-da-da. Hey man, you want to sit down and talk about, get a coffee, get a drink, or whatever it's going to be. And we can sit down and talk about how maybe you could make that look a little bit better, a little bit cleaner. Like I'd be happy to teach you some stuff, right? Like just taking a different approach to all of it is going to matter. But you hit on delayed gratification, which is something that Americans are not good at in general. We've built this society that's built on credit at this point. And yeah, you're right. When you wake up every morning and you're automatically $5,000, $10,000 in the hole, or a couple $100 in the hole because of a truck payment, car payment, mortgage, credit card, whatever it's going to be, like life sucks Stressful. Extra hard. Yeah. Like it makes it even worse because you're like, man, I'm not even doing anything yet. And then you add on, like, I'm trying to build this business and I need this thing. I started and I didn't have all of the tools, but I was taking little stuff on the weekends, and we won't even get on the soapbox about saying it's a side gig because I installed flooring full time. So it was just me doing floors
Right.
and it was the start of my business. I was doing stuff on the weekends on my own, and I had a Cavalier at the time, let alone a coupe. It wasn't even a 4-door Cavalier. And so like I had to like open the door and then put the seat all the way forward and like fit the saw in the back and then get the other saw in the back, and the shop vac was riding shotgun and the compressor went in the trunk along with a bunch of other stuff. And like this, I was rolling up to houses with a Cavalier, and they're like, "You're going to do my floor?" And I was like,
Floors.
"Sure am. I'm going to get them done."
My first painting vehicle was a 91 Honda Civic hatchback. Throw a 40-foot extension ladder on top of that. Awesome. Maybe not, I don't recommend it. It's probably not the safest, but your sprayer, your ladders, everything on top of that. And that's how I would show up to jobs. But part of it to me, I mean, yes, there's an image. And I understand that. Most of my business, fortunately, was referral. So people knew who I was coming in the door. So it wasn't a big deal. And you do have to put an image to what you're doing. Me personally, I never wanted to show up in the nicest vehicle, because when contractors show up to my house in a $130,000 vehicle wrapped with the matching trailer, I'm like, I must be paying too much. And that's just my opinion. But somewhere in the middle is a real happy medium.
I agree. I think there's, look, you want to have the fancy thing, keep it at home and leave it there. $30,000, $40,000 couple-year-old truck.
Yep.
Nailed it, right? Perfect. Yep. It's going to last
Reliable.
you, get what you need. Yep. Going to get you where you need to go. It's going to haul the stuff you need to haul, and it's going to look good. And my Cavalier was beat up at the time, and then I replaced it with a vehicle that was a year older than what it was, and that thing was an absolute mess and looked even worse. But like I went from a Cavalier to a Ford Expedition, but I was able to fit everything in it, right? I could lay all the seats down and fit everything I had in it because the tools kept growing. And then I was able to I worked slowly and I was able to save up the money. And then I got the 7x14 enclosed trailer, and then everything went in there and I was able to haul it. And then I went and I finally bought the truck that was decent. But it was steps, and I was like, okay, I'm going to save up a little bit of money, and I'm going to work towards this thing, and I'm going to work towards this thing. And it was little bit by little bit, but I was able to love what I did along the way. And we got to kind of get back on that kind of message. I don't want to tell people that, hey, don't buy anything. Like, dude, go live your life how you want to live. But I've found that managing my cash is a better decision, and delaying gratification and not having all the toys has made my life a little bit easier for me personally. I think it would work for most people, but I can love what I do a little bit more when I'm not stressed out. And I've definitely talked about it on the show before of everyone needs a fuck you bank account. And a lot of people, what? Like, what's a fuck you bank account? Man, I'll tell you what, you get 20 grand saved up into your business account, and you don't you don't owe anybody any money. You don't owe a supplier. You don't have any material money coming out. You don't owe any bills. You got 20 grand sitting in a savings account, and it's just 20 grand over there. You should be able to support yourself for a few months off of that.
Yep.
And you start walking into bids, and you're looking at, a project, and the client's having a conversation with you, and they're like, "Can you come down on that?" No, the price is the price, right? You can now go in with such a different attitude and really love what you do and have a firm stance on your business and be like, no, this is for me. Like, I would love to do your project, right, but I don't need to do it. And when you start out, look, I remember I needed every project. Everything. Yes, I will take anything. I didn't care if you were mean to me. I didn't care if you were dictating everything. I had a lot to learn about business at that time, but it was, I got to the point where I didn't need the work. And then I also realized that I could actually afford my own work.
Right.
And those two realizations were very, very big. And I was able to enjoy what I did much more because there was way less stress on it.
how is that great feeling when you get done with a bid, hand the number, shake hands, like, oh, I'll let you know, and you go, man, I hope I don't get that one. Like, that is such a great freeing feeling. And that's just, and everybody, you said it, the fuck you bank account, it's different for everybody, right? Everybody's got a different level of the way they have their means and what they need to do. But boy, it is freeing. You get to the point where you want to show up to work then, because like, okay, for me, growing the bank account, little more was even more important. So now it's like, it gets contagious. So I want that next job because I know my profits are going to be this, and I can add that little chunk. And if it was that 20 grand, well, now it's 22. And when you start seeing that thing grow and you're not spending, and all of a sudden you wake up 2-3 years down the road and you look at that account because you've just been squirreling, you're like, wow, I'm actually a business person. And that feeling is unbelievable. And then you get more excited about going to work and truly loving what you do, right? You can afford that family vacation. You can take that day off to go to your kid's game. And you're not a slave to, you said it, the job or a business. You're not a slave to it. You're doing it because you're excited about it. And you're excited about getting the message out there and going to work for somebody. And most of my business, fortunately, Kyle, is still 100% referrals. I am busier than I ever was. All my business during COVID was the job that the big guy didn't want to do. So I would get phone calls for everything. And for me, at least it changed my daily routine, right? So one day I'm doing floors, one day I'm building a deck outside. Okay. And I could manipulate around the weather. So, being here on your flooring stuff, that's great, but that's such a small part of what I do. And yes, I'm currently on a job where it's 3 full bathrooms, so I'm going to be setting tile until I'm blue in the face. So if anybody's in Avon, Colorado and wants to come help me, let me know. But I get to change my weeks. I get to change my days. And yes. I'm also, my soapbox, I think we talked about this before we even kind of put this podcast together, was building a brand around somebody and loving what you do. My brand it truly is energy and honesty and integrity. Okay. I wake up in the morning and you will never catch me in a lie. If I, excuse my language, fuck something up, I am going to own it in front of the customer, because all it was a mistake. There was no maliciousness. I wasn't trying to cheat something. I wasn't trying to hide something. I wasn't trying to make it look like I didn't break something or stain their couch. You know what? It's part of the game. Yeah. It's part of the business. Is accidents happen. And if you're not trying to hide that, if you're okay with having that conversation with the customer, that's just as big of a stress release as the money thing, right? The bank account. It's like, I'm good. Like, it's an accident. Like, you can be mad, but how can you be mad at somebody if I'm just being honest? And that's a big part of kind of my life.
Oh, I totally agree. When you're out there and you're doing what you say you're going to do and you own it, and okay, look, I bumped the wall or whatever, like, it's easy. I've dented some corner beads in my lifetime as I've moved appliances and not been paying attention. I've scratched a couple of refrigerator doors, and it's easy. Hey, I did this. Let me get the model number. I'll look up the parts and I will get it replaced for you. And I've gone back and put on the door, whatever needed to happen, or said, the lady was having a painter come out in like a month or something after I finished up the work. And I was like, look, I dented the giant corner bead. You're going to have the painter come out, have him fix it. Whatever the additional charge is, let me know. I will give you the money. I will sell you the money the same day. Yep. Just look, hey, I did it. I screwed up. But if you know your pricing, there's money built in for mistakes, and you're going to be okay. You're not going to be hurting for it. Yep. I think a big part of like loving what you do too is finding ways to incorporate other areas of your life that you enjoy. Like, you don't necessarily have to love installing flooring or building showers or doing decks. And I know for you, like, you like being in front of people. You're very charismatic. And so like putting on a show is part of it. And so even for you being able to go in and chat with the client is probably a big thing. And I love that aspect too. Like, I want to go build relationships, and I want to hang out with people and get to know you and learn about your dog and your kids and your husband or your wife or whatever. And like being able to go and do that while also understanding that I'm solving some problem you have, and then I enjoy the fact that I'm building something, and at the end of the day I can generally see the results, so there's like instant gratification. That like you can start taking lots of little things and putting them together, and that's why I don't get how you can't, like, how are you that salty? Like what aren't you enjoying about this? Because there's so many different things, and then you have you're in a spot now where you're like me, right? You're just kind of combining a bunch of this hodgepodge of skills into like, I don't know what my career is. Like, I can't give it a name, but I do things and I earn money.
Yep.
But they all kind of come together and work together. And so like, how has that kind of worked for you of like, I went to school and I learned how to do early childhood education, but I didn't want to be a teacher and I didn't want to work corporate, but like you've gained skill sets through all of that. And now you're old enough, mature enough to combine them, right? Like let me put all these things I know together and like form something. And I don't know that you can necessarily define it, but like, how did that kind of come about? And what was it that you started realizing to even be like, oh, if I kind of put this thing with this thing, then I can really enjoy what I'm doing?
Well, let's talk about why am I sitting here talking to you right now is because of John's Manville, right? So where did all this land? So I'm currently at the shows and I'm demonstrating some of John's Manville's products. And how I got that job was honestly because I have a construction background a little bit, but I have a presentation background. I can talk contractor and I can talk to groups. I can be in front of people. I'm very comfortable with kind of that. I don't want to call it showboating, but it's just being a larger than life personality and allowing people to feel comfortable enough with me where they engage with me. My entire career, you talk, elementary education, and then with my career, on the microphone as a MC and an announcer at different things, and then with Captain Morgan, I was on stage for all of it. And whether it was one person I was talking to or a group of 50 to 100,000 people, connecting with them, making them feel like I am only talking to one person or singling them out or whatever that may be. And that's where it really got me into now John's Manville, where I'm kind of their presentation guy. And so my brother, he made a crack. He's like, you went from Captain Morgan to booth babe. And I thought that was pretty funny. I was like,
it is.
Yep, I sure did.
They went the opposite way, folks. Like you can, John's Manville brings in all of the women like coming to see Matt, as opposed to most of the booths hire like some scantily clad woman and put her out front to draw in all the men. Like they got the opposite approach, and I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty comical. But there it is. I love going to those shows. I love getting into the business portion of it and chatting with these contractors or builders or spec guys or whatever it is about, products. I can 100% admit that in the last year and a half since I joined John's Manville as just kind of this part-time thing, I have learned more about the flooring business than I ever knew. I mean, I wasn't a flooring contractor, but now I can talk to it because I'm involved in it. I'm talking about different, thin sets, and I'm talking about different types of grout and, the actual pot lifes on a good thin set. Like I wasn't great at that. I just kind of knew and I followed the directions and did that, but now I understand a lot more. And so I can talk to it, which is, I don't feel like a dummy anymore. Right? That's just being honest. It's because that wasn't my skill set before. It was just going to work and working hard and working smart. My last name is Wentland, and I call my company Wentland Works because what does Wentland Works do? I don't know. He works. And that's literally what it is. So it just bounces from thing to thing to thing, and I can combine all these like you. It's just this hodgepodges of ways of making a couple of bucks. And boy, I get to smile through 85% of them. Because let's say 15% of jobs, they suck.
But you're going to get one.
It happens. And if you don't appreciate those, you're not going to appreciate the good ones either. Mm-hmm. Right. So getting done with.
You made an interesting point, and you said I've learned you've learned more in the last year and a half about the industry than you did before, and before you were just kind of this guy that read instructions, which, like, congratulations, you read instructions as a man, and I'm very proud of you for admitting that. But did getting the education and pushing it further allow you to enjoy and love what you do more because it made it easier? Because for me, the more I learn, the easier it becomes, which means I can enjoy it more because it's not as much of a struggle. And I'm going to assume you have the same answer, but I think that ties into it. Is I think there's a lot of contractors out there. You know the guys. I've been doing it this way for 20 years.
Yep.
Yeah, and 20 years ago that was great technology, but things have changed.
You have to trust. You have to trust technology to enjoy this, right? I mean, if you're just beating your head against the wall the same way, the same thing, like you've done the same thing for 40 years, you've laid the same brick the same way or laid the same tile for 40 years. Technology is amazing, and it does make the job easier, faster, more financially beneficial most of the time, and just more enjoyable, right? So everybody that, for us, with the Johns Manville stuff, I mean, it's, for those that don't know, there's foam boards, foam backer boards, point drain system, just making things quicker, faster, and easier for the installer and the contractor. And it was like, well, there's still people, I don't trust foam. My biggest number one is I pull out your cell phone for me and they hand me an iPhone 14 or a Samsung 22. I'm like, this is not a flip phone. You obviously trust technology here. Why wouldn't you trust technology in other areas of your life? And to me, that's what it is. Like, there's so many amazing things out there to learn and geek out on that I got to, because it's fun.
Well, I mean, again, I think it makes it easier. It makes it, you're able to enjoy what you're doing because you've found a way to do it in less time, make more money, or, maybe you can do it in the same amount of time, but it provides a better end product with a better warranty. There's all kinds of different factors, right? But at the end of the day, for me, it was like, I have other things that I want to do. Like, I enjoy building relationships with my clients. I enjoy going and installing the flooring, or I enjoy talking on the microphone here. But at the end of the day, like, that's not why I'm doing it. I wanted to pay off my house. I wanted to pay off my school loans. I want to be able to take my wife and kids on a vacation a couple of times a year and give them the things that they want. My son does competitive swim. My daughter does some swim lessons, and like, I want to be able to provide that stuff. And so being able to even have the opportunity to provide those things, like, I can go and enjoy it because, well, I may not always enjoy the day. Knowing what I'm going to be able to come home and provide, I'm like, okay, like, it's worth doing these things. And it's just, the mindsets aren't right. And I'm pessimistic by nature, and this is all like new in the last few years. Like, there were times, like, I used to hate everything I did, I hated. Chip on my shoulder. And so, like, but you can't live that way. Like, it's just, right. It's no way to be and continue on and function, because you're constantly angry, and it's just not a healthy place to be. I'm going to interrupt us real quick. And then if you want to have a reply to that, or you want to go somewhere new, we can totally do that. But we got a quick word from, our friends over at Johns Manville.
Hey.
Zero entry, curbless, ADA compliant. All these words describe a shower pan style that is both luxurious and accessible for every person. GoBoard Point Drain was designed with this in mind. The low-profile features and adjustable riser perfectly enable a zero-entry installation. Whether you install mud pans or use GoBoard wedges, the integrated membrane keeps water securely flowing in the right direction, down the drain. Visit www.jm.com/GoBoard to discover the possibilities. And if you go to a show, Matt, I'll tell you all about it.
You bet. Just put two in this week, and one is curbless and one's curb. So
there you go.
Back to your, I can admit, like when I said 85% of my jobs I love, 15%, heart of COVID, I was beat up because obviously everybody was doing projects. Like everybody was out there working. And because I was taking on all the jobs that the big guy or big gal team didn't want to do, my phone rang 5 times a day. And I was working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day if I could. I mean, you worry the well is going to dry up, right? Yes. The economy is going to change. The recession is going to happen. And knowing that I'm like, okay, I'm just going to keep going. And these are referrals. And I want to keep the referral train going for when it does slow down, that, you know, somebody's still got money if this recession thing ever does hit. And I promise you, I'm going to be just fine. But during that time, I would talk to my brother. He's kind of in the same industry. He's an HVAC guy. And our drive time would be a little bit of a bitch fest. And then one day I just like, all right, I have to stop this pattern. And he calls me up one day. He's like, he starts bitching about something, like, man, you know what's great? I get to go make money today. This is going to be a good day. Like, I'm going to go make some money because, you know what, down the road, I might want a new motorcycle. Yeah, sounds good. Let's go make some money for a motorcycle today. And that kind of, it really did change it. And the weird part is I always knew I always had this mentality of, you put on a role. Not everybody wants to be a contractor. Not everybody wants to be an insurance salesman. Not everybody wants to, whatever they're doing, not everybody loves that. Maybe it doesn't get them all corked up in the morning, but it's a role. Maybe it's not who you are, but it's a role. So you put on that role, and you, like an actor, right? Yep. The actors are not these people. They put on the role. So I'm going to put on the role as a tile setter today. And I'm going to have a great time. I'm going to do it well. I'm going to do it better than anybody else. I'm going to be a perfect contractor for the homeowner. I'm not going to be salty when things go south. And then I'm going to be Matt Wentland when I get home. And then, cool, I get to hang out with my wife. I get to have dinner, have a beer, whatever it is. And then tomorrow I'm going to be the role of whatever it is that I'm doing. And that's okay. It's just, that's who I am today. And if you can get into that mentality, if you're having a rough time, because nobody should do something they hate every day. Life is way too short, Kyle. Like, I feel so bad for those people that feel trapped in whatever it is, but taking little steps, like you talked earlier, for your mental being, like finding whatever that 15 minutes is to work on yourself. Maybe it's not your business because it's yourself that you've got to work on. And just finding that 15 minutes, it's so easy. Everybody talks, oh my God, I'm so busy, I didn't have time to text you back. Bullshit. Yep. Like, you have 15 minutes for yourself every day. And whether you got kids and there's sports and there's this, there is that time. Find it.
What bad habit are you going to drop out, right? Like, one of the things that I dropped out is I don't watch a lot of TV. And I'll admit it, lately I've been really bad with like death scrolls on TikTok and YouTube and watching shorts and all this nonsense. But for the most part, like, one of the biggest things I've cut out is TV. Like, I don't care. I don't know what shows are happening. There's very few things I'm interested in watching in general, especially after working in reality television for a few years. I'm just I'm good. Like, and most TV is garbage these days to me. Like, it's just not going to be super entertaining. I'd rather hop on here, have a conversation, or go find somebody to talk flooring with, or call up somebody in the industry and have a conversation and hang out with my kids, my wife, whatever it's going to be. But it's finding that time to do something I enjoy. And you're talking about putting on a role, right? Can I go do something that I dislike or don't necessarily enjoy, knowing that I'm going to get something that I truly want out of it, and then have that positive attitude? I think we don't necessarily look at, and again, this is coming from a guy that's been a pessimist forever, I might not like the activity I have to go do for the day, but like, what's something that I can enjoy about it? You know, I think a lot of times tile demo sucks. It's miserable. Hands get cut up. My face gets cut up. But you know what? I can break stuff. Literally get paid to rip somebody's home apart. That's thrilling. And I might hurt at the end of the day. But again, for sure, somebody paid me to just mess up their home.
Destroy it. Yeah.
Like, that's cool. Okay.
Yep.
Like what's the silver lining, right? Where's the like sunbeam from the sky shining down on this project that like makes it really exciting for the day? And I think it's changing your mentality. Like you said, you used to have a bitch fest with your brother. Like, okay, so if we're going to put negativity out there, it's super contagious and we're going to latch onto that and then we're going to hold on to it. You start putting that positivity out there and trying to latch onto that, your days just go so much better.
They really do.
It's not a huge change, right? And it's just finding that one little thing, and it's changing the people you hang around with. If you're hanging out with people that are super negative all the time, stop.
You're done.
You just you don't need to be with them. And that's one of the best things I did is like getting into flooring. I met all new people. I had to develop all new friendships and relationships. And the people that I started gravitating to were all light years ahead of where I was personally and professionally at. It changed my life real quick because I was like, I want what you have. And if I continue to act this way, like I don't even know that I necessarily realized that it was happening, but they're not that way. Like they're not complaining. They're not whining. They're doing all these things. They're getting educated. They're going and learning about this. They're having these conversations. Like, let me go do those things. Cause if that's what they're doing, then that's what's making them that person. And I think it's uncomfortable. It's difficult. It's scary. But the fear of staying who I was more than the fear of experiencing something new.
Right. And see, I'm the exact opposite of you. I am optimist through and through. Like I pretend to love people, and I deal with a lot of people, like hundreds of thousands at a time. But in general, I love engaging with people. Like it gives me all of my extra snort.
Oh, you get juiced up, man.
I do. And my wife, before I got in this call, she's like, talk slower. Just talk slower. Because I get so excited. I talk with my hands. She's like, you've got to calm down. I'm like, but that's my energy level. Like that's what gives me my endorphins. And it's not just crawling around demoing all day long. It's the extra piece. It's this conversation with you. It's, meeting some cool dude at the tile store at Home Depot and just, they're all grumpy too, but giving somebody a reason to have a smile, like being a little nicer in the line when you're standing there waiting to check out or whatever it is. And not just being grumpy. Don't let it consume you because it's only going to get worse.
It does. It eats you, and it's not fast. It's definitely slow.
Yep.
But there is potential change out there, and it's all little stuff. Like this is 8 years in the making for me. A little over 8 years. June 2015 is when I got into flooring, and go ask my wife. Right, we can have her back on the podcast. It's only been a couple of months, but like, I'm not the dude that started a little over 8 years ago. That is nowhere near where I am. I don't have that attitude. I don't have that mindset. And it happened slowly and surely. And I learned little things, and lifestyle changed, and the way I handle money changed, and the way I talk to people is changing, and just how I build relationships, how I look at myself, all of it. It's just step by step by step, but I'm able to constantly become this person that is enjoying life more. It was a lot of people want to play the victim. I think it's very like Western culture to, woe is me. Nothing's my fault. Everything's against me. And I'm sorry, but like we live in America. Like that's not like most people, not that there's not people that suffer here and that there's people that aren't cheated out of opportunities and whatnot. Like I know there are. Most people have opportunities they don't even realize, or they're too scared to take. And you can try and point the blame or whatever. And like my son's a great example. I'll throw my son under the bus here. He's 14, so like he has tons of lessons to learn. But my daughter is almost 12, and she's special needs and has Down syndrome. And it's constantly, she gets everything. She doesn't ever have to do anything. She's so spoiled, and in life, it's not fair. She gets this. And I'm like, whoa, stop. Like, you cannot have that mentality of life's not fair. It's like, look, you want to know the solution, kid? And I've been making him say this since he was 2, and he won't even say it anymore. He just scowls at me. I'm like, life isn't fair, dude. Get over it. Like, you already know that. Like, too bad.
Right.
I'm like, you say life's not fair.
It's not fair.
And he's like, he just walks away because he's 14 and he's so mad. But I'm like, dude, you're not her. And she's not you. Like, you guys are different. We have different expectations of where each of you are at, what each of you can handle, and she's given what she can handle. She has chores. She has expectations set on her. And so do you. They're just different. No, she gets that. Dude, that's the way it's going to be. I was like, go talk to some of your friends, man. Ask them like what kind of like punishments they get for like different things when they do things around their house. And like, they might have harsher punishments than you get here. Or maybe they have lighter punishments. I was like, is that fair? No. Okay. Like,
right.
Get over it, folks. It ain't fair. It ain't supposed to be. You get handed a deck and you got to play the cards that you're dealt. But I'll tell you what, at least within poker, man, you can throw all 5 of them down and you can get dealt a new 5.
Totally.
Or you can go for a new hand, right? You can play that one out and you can get a new hand dealt to you. Like, one of them's going to work out eventually, but you got to be willing to put in the effort to get the new hand dealt to you.
Well, like you said, right? Life's not fair. Life is also hard. There's plenty of angst out there. There's plenty of things. I don't have time in my life anymore for super negativity. I don't. Like, I surround myself with positive people. I've cut out a lot of people that just don't feed off of energy the same way I do. And that's okay. But you've got to look inside yourself and find whatever that is to get you out of bed in the morning. And now we have families, we have bills, we have health issues, we have family members that are getting older. We have all this stuff that just drags you down and drags you down and drags you down. But what is that little chunk that's gonna give you that spark, right? For you as an internal pessimist, what is that little piece that's gonna go, okay, that fired something in me? And I'm not going to bag on social media or anything else and the phone swipes and all this stuff, but there's got to be something in there to adjust. It's not anybody else's fault in life.
Oh no, it's me.
If it is, change it. Find a way to get through somebody else's fault and turn it into a learn, a positivity, even a neutral, just to get you out of whatever bad mood you're in, whatever frustration you're having. Just get to even, and then you've got a better place to start and keep moving. And I know it's hard. The world, there's, like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of mental anguish and things, and it's a real deal. But you've got to be able to find it in yourself to find that happiness. And I want people to be happy. You know?
Definitely. And it can start. Enjoying your day could be as easy as like making your bed in the morning. Like, if that's the biggest win you can get for the day, take it and run with it. Right? Like, we gotta start somewhere, but we can build on it from there. And loving what you do is going to come in so many different ways. And you can, again, you don't necessarily have to love doing the flooring, but like, what's the thing that you can do that day that's going to make a difference in somebody's life? Can you teach somebody something? Can you interact with like a client's kid or dog or whatever? Like, what's the thing that's going to make it worthwhile? Or are you going to be able to come home and have a really cool time with your kids, or take your wife out to a dinner she never expected? Like, how do we flip this around so that we can love what we do? And then just in general, like, I hate hearing that people don't think trades are lucrative. And so like, let's kind of go down the business path here for a minute. Like, look, it's not true. Okay. The trades can be super lucrative when you understand that you're putting in a certain amount of effort and you have to charge a certain amount of stuff. And I don't know that a lot of people realize the trade they're making. And we need to do a better job of educating the future. And I would gladly tell a high school student, look, you can make a lot of money in the trades. You can learn how to run a business. You can learn how to reach the right kind of clientele. You can learn how to do it safely so that you're not damaging your body as much. You can put restrictions on the amount of hours you work so that you can have career longevity. There's all kinds of things we can do. But even within that, we can set boundaries, and not enough business owners set boundaries of like, oh, it's 6:00, man, I'm done with the phone. Like, I don't care who calls. I'm not answering it. They get me back at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, whatever it's going to be. I'm with my family now, or I'm out and about. I'm just done. Or you don't have to take a project just because someone calls. Like, you don't have to take it.
But call them back and tell them I'm not going to take the project.
Yeah. Hey, we're not a good fit. Like, you don't need to explain it. Hey, I just don't think we're going to be a good fit. I would go with company B if you know somebody else that does it. Whatever it's going to be. But like, you have to, that was the biggest thing that I learned over the last like 2 years, is having boundaries like really, really matters. Cause I was the crackhead that was like waking up at 3 a.m. when my phone dinged at me and somebody was telling me they wanted an estimate through Facebook at 3 a.m. and I would reply like, yeah, let's do it. Like, who looks worse, right? The person messaging me at 3 a.m. or me responding as the business owner, like, yeah, let's do it. Yep. We were both crazy. Or, people were, hey, can we knock some off? Yeah, sure, I'll do that. And then, you damage something on that project, or something comes up and it runs a little long and you're like, man, I wish I had that money. Or it takes you the exact amount of time and everything goes smooth, but you're still like, dang it, dude, I'm like $1,500 short. Like, I'm not enjoying doing this because I'm not getting the reward that I know I should get for it. And you compromised. And there's just little things that we're like learning the business and having the boundaries and setting the standard that like you call the shots, not the homeowner. Like, they can be there and like they get to create their vision, but like, I'm going to execute it. Can make your career go so much smoother than, I hear a lot of stories of guys and gals and they show up and they just get beat up. And they're told how to do it, where to do it, when to do it. You're going to start over here in this bedroom and you're going to do this thing. And then we're going to move all our stuff. And then you're going to go over here and you're going to do this one. You're going to do it like this. And who's the professional here? Who did they hire, right? Are you just slave labor, or are you the expert that they hired? And, you start teaching. If we teach the next generation, we go and we influence these young kids and we start teaching them those skill sets from the beginning, they're going to be able to change the different trade industries and really set a higher bar and standard. Because the last thing we want, man, if you think that there are hacks now and it's a race to the bottom now, give it another 10 years and watch all of the people that are currently doing it that are 55, 65 years old retire. It is going to get super lucrative, and there's going to be waiting lists out the wazoo. But there's also going to be everybody coming in saying, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. And if you think if you think workmanship and prices are a problem now, it's going to get even worse. And so we've got to build a way to protect it. And I don't want to gatekeep, but like we've got to like put it out there that we can educate people and train them up and give them the opportunities that other people haven't had.
And I think with that being said, we shouldn't be the customers just working their bitch, right?
Yeah.
Every job I go on, it's a relationship. So you said it earlier when we were talking before we started. Hey, can you start here? It doesn't make sense for me to start here, and here's why, right? So not coming back at them like I'm the probe, like, ooh, hear me roar, I'm the best, you hired me, but here's why I'm going to do it this way. And I am the one here doing it, and it's going to be more efficient and you're going to get a better result. You're going to get a leveler floor because I've done the whole floor leveling instead of patchwork as I go. And just teaching the next generation to say, listen, here's the reason, and truly having a conversation with the clients about the whys as well. I think that goes a long ways, because there are a lot of tradespeople that just kind of go out there and get their asses kicked every day. And that's not how it's supposed to be. We are professionals in our industry, and we should be able to have a conversation with the client when we have the consultation conversation or start of the job, whatever that may be. We talked earlier, it was like, I don't like traffic. And my conversation with the customer is like, hey, I'm going to start at 7. And they say, can we start at 8? And I say, no, we're going to start at 7, because if I start at 8, I will be in my truck for an hour and a half to get to your job site. If I start at 7, it's going to take me 30 minutes. Do you want to pay for that extra time? Usually the answer is no. And even if they say yes, I'm like, I don't want that money. I don't want to be angry sitting in traffic getting to your job site. And just treating each one as a relationship. It's a partnership, and it's a nice dance when it goes well, because there's open communication.
Definitely.
And that's, tradespeople, I can't imagine the people that say I'm going to be somewhere and then don't show up at all. Or the contractors that have 9 jobs going on, and they stop here for an hour and they tighten a screw, and then they sit in traffic for an hour, go over here, tighten 2 screws, and then they go over here, and they're just stringing everybody along.
Yes.
That's part of that education with this next generation of treat customers better as well. Like, don't extend these jobs and just trying to grab money, like, take money up front from these, and then you don't get to them for 6 months. Like, absolutely not. Like, it's got to be a better partnership. And I know some clients can be a-holes too, right? It happens. But if we can start this partnership conversation, I think it's going to go a little bit better.
I agree. There's just got to be better education overall. There's not this. Look, I get it. We've all some of us are self-taught. Some of us went and learned from other people. And like, there's not a great business education system in the trades. There's a lot of self-taught people. There's a lot of stuff that's handed down through families, or, that's the way it used to be. Or it's, hey, I went and learned under this guy. And then you kind of get told, everyone sold the dream that it's better to work for yourself.
Right.
And for some people it is. But nobody's told to like go learn business skills or people skills or management skills or of any kind. It's just, hey, you have, you're really good at doing X, Y, or Z of building something. Go sell it now.
Yep.
It's not that easy. There's so much more to do. And that's what I think needs to happen is like, don't be afraid to give the, apprentice that you have the skill sets they need to succeed, right? Talk, if they want to go out on their own, man, talk about them on how to build, bring them to some bids, teach them. Everyone's always worried, oh, they're going to steal my work. How are they going to steal your work? Okay. You're either really bad at what you do, if someone that's brand new in the market is going to go steal all your work, or let's look at it this way. You're currently, let's say you're a shower guy. You're currently doing showers, and it's you and an apprentice. Well, that showers, and you're keeping both of you busy consistently, okay? So that shower takes you 1 week with the 2 of you, but if you were to do it by yourself, maybe it takes you 2 weeks, all right? And I don't know all this shower math, leave me alone. Well, if you have to find a new shower every week for both of you, or one, or, like if he goes out, right, you each get that same, like there's still that many showers being done. Yeah. Like
still 2 showers.
He's not stealing anything. And then if you teach him how to do it right, let's say you're the expensive guy in town, right? And you've taught him right. And you've taught him how to bid and how to manage a business and the proper skills and how to do everything to industry standards. You just raise the bar. You now have somebody keep competing on an equal or higher level with you, as opposed to you sitting there saying, everyone's driving the prices down and they suck and nobody does it right and they're all gonna leak and this sucks.
You
Okay,
just taught a
do you
guy
want
that's going to do the good stuff.
Yeah, do you want to train the person that's going to bring it down and suck, or do you want to train the person that's going to raise the bar? Like, it works out the same either way. Let alone there's generally more than enough work going around, or at least I want to have that growth mindset. I don't want the scarcity mindset where I think everything's going to collapse and fall in on me. There's work out there.
You've got internal struggles if that's how you think about training somebody, right? If you're worried they're stealing the business, like there's something else going on inside that you're not dealing with. If that's kind of what you think, like if you're, nobody can do it as good as me. Well, horse shit. There's a lot of people that can do it way better than me.
Yep.
There's a lot of people that can do it quite a bit worse than me too. But I want to learn from the guy that's doing or the gal that's doing it better than me. Like, you should always be growing that and teaching and teaching it. One of my favorite things in the world to do is I travel quite a bit doing construction for music festivals and things like that. So build outs and whatever else. I love putting tools in hands of people that don't have tools in hands.
It's empowering.
Like, it's my favorite. It is. It's my favorite thing to do. Like, all right, here's how we're going to safely use a skill saw, or this is what we're going to do, or how we're going to brace something correctly and why we're going to do it. Like, the education part of that is awesome to me. And I will spend that extra hour standing there with twiddling my thumbs, watching them use a skill saw for the first time. Like, and that's not somebody going into trade ever, but that's just giving somebody a reason to smile. Like, I learned something new today. Like, I love it.
Oh, we got a family friend that's a single mom, and she was like telling me, I want to replace my doorknobs and stuff. And she's like, I'm going to call up a locksmith and do it. It's like, what are you talking about? I was like, it's two screws. It's like, you're going to take out, well, it's four, but I was like, it's like two screws. You're going to take these out. You're going to take these out. You're going to pull these things apart. You're going to do it. She's looking at me. She's like, what are you talking? I was like, it's easy. Trust me. I was like, you go to Home Depot, you buy the locks, and you go home and you get a screwdriver and you'll see what to do. And if you have trouble, like, feel free to call me.
Call me.
And she got done. She calls me. She's like, oh, I did it. Right. And she's like amazed. Right. I was like, easy. See, you got this. Like, and she's done it. She's called me and like, she's done a couple of other things now, like on her home, that are just like giving people a skill set to be able to better their life, makes them feel super empowered. And that, like, how are you going to bag on the trades? Like, why would you tell anybody this is a horrible career path and it's going to ruin them and they're going to hurt? Again, you can control your schedule. You can control how you work. It ruined you because you decided that you needed to work 12 or 14-hour days for some reason, and you were going to work 7 days a week. I decided that I wanted to work 8 or 9 hours a day, 5 days a week, and I'm done after that. And I'm going to look at the job and I'm going to bid it that way. And okay, does that always happen? No. Sometimes things run behind schedule. Occasionally I'm working 12, 14-hour days, but it's not every day. And I also bid them high enough that I don't have to work 12 or 14 hours to make the amount of money. I'm going to make that amount of money in 8 hours.
Yep.
And that's the way it is. This is what I want. Take it or leave it.
Yep.
And well, you can't do that. Yes, you can. Just have the balls to go do it, folks. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
build yourself into that spot. Yeah.
Correct. And it doesn't look, if you struggle with pricing and you want to make more money, like, raise everything 10% on your next 5 bids.
Yep.
And see what happens. 10% on the next 5 and see how much objection you get. Because that's where I started. It was like I was at $2 a square foot to install LVP, and I went to $225, and nobody started objecting. And then I went to $250, and nobody started objecting. And then I went to $275, and then it was $3, and it was. I slowly worked it up, and it just became more. And so if that's the thing that's going to let you enjoy this more, there's ways to do it. If being able to better provide for your family is going to make you happy, like, you can get it. And the scary part is you're going to go charge more money. No one's going to object. Then you're going to kick yourself in the butt and be like,
I should have been doing
how much did I leave on the table?
Yep.
How many years was I doing this? And nobody would have batted an eye.
Right.
And if it doesn't work, you might already be priced at the top of your market. The other consideration is maybe you're just not good at selling.
Not that good enough. Yep.
And so now what can we do to improve sales skills?
Yep.
Because there's always something we can be working on. And if we're working on ourselves, I think then we generally find ourselves in a happier situation because we're constantly improving and seeing where we came from as opposed to, you know, the horrible place that we feel stuck in. If you're not working on something and you're not learning something, that's a huge problem.
Totally. I think, you know, when what's really wild, you talk about pricing and things like that, is all my friends, you know, say the same thing. Oh, you charge too little. You charge too little. I'm like, I'm in a good space though. Like I'm not angry about what I'm charging. Like there's always more. Yeah, always want more. I've gotten to a point where a lot of my jobs now are not bidded. They're time and material. And I have a nice little rate that I'm perfectly happy with. And yes, some I'm probably leaving some on the table because I couldn't bid it up and then increase my hourly rate. But I get done with the job, they're like, cool, here's the check. Have a great day. Thanks so much. And because everything is referral, I try to do this much more on every job. What is that extra little piece that didn't cost me too much time, didn't cost me too much, or if it did, I'm billing by the hour anyway, but I did a little extra piece. And they're like, wow, like you didn't do less than you said you were going to. You did slightly more. That's amazing. Yeah. And then walking out of that house, there's no question that next referral is coming with less tradespeople and more houses going up and less people knowing how to do their own kind of self-handyman stuff.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be a ton of work out there. And if you just position yourself into, if you're happy, the customer's going to see it as well. Just positioning yourself into you taking care of yourself, making what is comfortable to you in the money. You know, we don't have to be at the top. We don't have to be at the bottom. Just wherever you're comfortable. Sounds great. You're going to love what you do. You're going to love your life a little bit more if you can just get a couple of those pieces figured out.
Definitely. And you bring up a good point, right? So like maybe you're leaving something on the table. Maybe you're a little cheap, but again, everyone can run a different business model. You got to find what works for you. But you got to remember this, how much liability you're taking on by touching it, which a lot of folks aren't considering. They just think everything's going to work out perfect. So how much liability are you taking on by touching it? And know that you can never go back. Well, you can stretch and you can work shorter days and you can, you know, make proper movements so you're not overextending muscles and tendons and ruining them in your body. You can't go back to these clients and ask for more later. So if you need knee surgery or shoulder surgery down the road, you can't start picking up the phone and calling these clients back and be like, you know, I undercharged you and I've got a big surgery coming up. I'm going to need another $200. And you call 20 years worth of clients asking for $200. They're going to laugh at you.
Totally.
So you better get that $200 now. And it's not greedy.
Nope.
You are making a trade. You are providing something beautiful and luxurious in their home by doing something that is probably damaging your body to some extent. And if it's not, and you're still providing them with a service. And I don't know any contractor that I've ever heard of has put a gun to anyone's head. Everyone's like, oh, I want to be fair. I want to make sure that I don't want to rip anybody off. Did you walk in and put a gun to their head with the contract?
Right.
Or did you present a price and they said yes? I didn't rip you off. You agreed to it.
Yep.
It's there is like they have some due diligence to go and do work and see if they think it's fair, right? If they just agree and you're the only bid and you were 10 times higher than everybody else, I'm sorry, that's on you, man. You didn't do your research. Right. I presented you with, you know, a price and you immediately agreed. That's I can't fix you. So just know that you need to take care of you, but when you take care of you, there's definitely happiness that can come from that. And it's not necessarily from money. Money doesn't buy happiness. Money lets you solve problems easier. But I'll tell you what, I'm a lot happier being able to solve my problems easier than when I was struggling trying to solve them.
Sure.
There's less stress.
No question. Yeah.
When the AC was going to break down a couple years ago, and I was able to just call up the AC company and be like, "Come on out and sell me."
Yep.
That was a big joy of like not worrying. It was probably $5 or $6 grand.
Yep. Like the money's there. Like, okay.
Here you go. Like not even a concern. They came out, did it all, cool. But a couple years before that, man, I'd have been so stressed out telling my wife and kids, like, I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to have to go get a credit card and put it on there. And I'm going to struggle to pay this off for like 3 years. And
we don't need AC in Arizona. We're fine this summer.
I wish.
We'll get it done in the winter when it's cheaper.
I wish. But it like less stress helps make you happier, make your life less stressful. You have the control to do it for sure.
Yep. It's little things. We can't control the world, but it's little things internally, and just find whatever that is for yourself.
Definitely. Anything we didn't hit on, Matt, that you think we need to address?
How handsome you are.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
It's been a while since I've seen you.
Yeah,
looking good.
We got a couple months.
Yeah,
I should see you end of January, I think.
Yep, we sure should. Or you sure will.
Okay. Sure will. There you go. Keep that pot.
You absolutely will, buddy.
Shauna, don't bring him to Surfaces.
What? They already called. Too late.
It's already booked. It's already scheduled.
Yep. It's done.
Right on. It'll be good times. Actually, I got to find out. Well, no, KBIS is not the same week this year. So So you guys will definitely be at Surfaces.
Yep.
That was an interesting one last year.
Sure was.
All right. I will wrap us up here then. So we got a quick couple of words from some sponsors, and then I got some stuff, and we'll get on out of here.
Awesome, man. Really enjoyed the time.
Yeah, dude. Thank you.
Just kind of chit-chatting.
Always. Listeners, it's nearing show season again, and I want to remind you that the International Surface event is returning to Las Vegas January 24th through the 26th of 2024. Mark your calendars now. Floor Academy podcast listeners have the opportunity to register for free using the promo code Kyle. Don't screw this up. Everyone's going to be asking for a code in a couple of months. I'm going to be, and at that point, I'm going to be like, I've been saying for months, it's my name. Just type in my name. That's all you have to remember. It's Kyle, Kyle. Four letters, folks. You got this. All right. So then you get that free exhibition pass. And whether you're an installer, retailer, distributor, or serve in another capacity within our industry, you can have I totally lost my place. Attending TICE is a solid resource to expand your knowledge and networking base. You can also learn about the newest industry-leading products coming to market. Stay up to date with the International Surfaces event page on Facebook or online at intlsurfaceevent.com. Not all HEPA vacuums are created equally. Those fancy big-name brands don't meet OSHA requirements for 7-inch grinders, but IQ Power Tools has your solution. The IQ 426 vacuum is not only affordable, it exceeds OSHA standards, can aid in dustless tile removal, and has a small footprint. It's the investment that keeps on giving. To learn more about the vacuum and their other dustless technologies for tile saws, click on the link in the show notes. And then, again, go on over to Floor Academy Pod. Check us out over there. We got lots of resources for you. If you want to help support the show, you can go to patreon.com/Floor Academy. Even $5 a month goes a long way in continuing to help the content to come at you. And honestly, folks, if you're not getting $60 worth of value out of this show, you are listening completely wrong. There is way more than $60 a year in value coming out of this show. Again, make sure you check out the sponsors, click on the links in the show notes. And if you want to get some merchandise, you can do that on the website, flooracademypod.com. Thank you, Matt, for joining us. I appreciate your insights and spending some time with us. We will catch you all next week.
Take care, brother.
Thank you.